We are going to bring in some Big 12 royalty. We're talking about the conference's vice president of men's basketball, Brian Thornton. Brian is here to catch us up and educate us on the dominance that the Big 12 has shown this year so far on the basketball court. We love the conference play, but the work in the non-con, I think, surprised a lot of people, even the biggest of Big 12 fans. What did you make, somebody on the inside of the Big 12, having such great success in the non-con this year, Brian?
It's exciting. You know, we really set ourselves up for a great conference season by the work that our schools did in the non-conference. You know, when you think about, we went 45-30 against the Power Four and the Big East, and that's the best record by far out of any of those other conferences. The next closest was 32-31. So, you know, that just goes to show that across the board, our schools did a good job. Obviously, you think about the schools at the top. Obviously, they have done a good job, your Arizonas, your Iowa States, Houstons of the world. But it also shows that we had that consistency across our entire league in those games. Yes. 13 out of our 16 schools had at least 2 high major wins during the non-conference play.
Well, you see, when you look at the top 25, Big 12 schools everywhere, 7 teams in the AP top 25 this week. That's most of any conference. 6 of those teams ranked since the preseason. How deep does this conference go, in your opinion?
It goes real deep. You talked about, having 7 teams in the top 25 this week, which is fantastic. But it's not just Houston, BYU, Arizona, Iowa State, Texas Tech, etc. And you can never forget about a team like Kansas. But it's some of those surprise teams that are right there on the back end or the periphery that are really closing hard. UCF made a debut into the top 25 this week, which was fantastic to see after an incredible start to non-conference play. Oklahoma State also has done a great job, and TCU is a couple of bounces away from being a top 10 team in the country. They had Michigan on the ropes. They had Notre Dame on the ropes, and then, they had Kansas on the ropes this week as well. So if they get 2 of those games, all of a sudden, the way you look at TCU is as a top 10, top 15 team in the country.
And to your point, that's a TCU team that went to the NCAA tournament, several years in a row, right? Up until last year. And it wouldn't surprise either you or I to see them back in the big dance come March again. How about this remarkable freshman class? We couldn't schedule this. Right? No, A.J. DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, Kingston Flemings, you can go all the way down the list. How is this freshman class, I know it's raising the bar throughout the country, but how is it raising it in the Big 12?
I mean, it's probably the best crop of freshmen that's ever been in any league at any time. You think about the guys that you named, but we're talking about 7 or 8 guys that could be drafted in the top 25 of the NBA draft in June. There's guys like Tunde Yesufu, who we're not even talking about, who's averaging 18 points a game for Baylor. So the list goes on. Braden Burries, Koa Pete, who's had a great start to the year. Darren Peterson, although he's been a little bit banged up, when he's played like he's the best player in the country. A.J. DeBonsa has been completely as advertised, leading the country in scoring. And Kingston Flemings, who was ranked in the top 25 of the high school ranks, has maybe been the best of all of them, leading Houston. So, I mean, it's just incredible to watch these young guys that have come into college and taken it by storm. And we certainly are excited about what the second half of the season is going to look like.
It's amazing. It's that rising tide, right? Lifting all the ships, and we're seeing it here. The coaches around the Big 12, historic, a lot of prestige. What are you guys, when you sit back, you guys in the Big 12 office, how much pride do you have? And these guys, they talk about college sports being like the front porch for institutions. Some of these coaches feel like they're on the front porch for the Big 12, making the conference look awfully good. How proud are you of that product?
For me, being, the head basketball administrator here at the conference, it's an honor. It's a privilege to get to work with our coaches, and we have some of the very, very best in the business. We have Hall of Famers like Bill Self. We have future Hall of Famers like Kelvin Sampson and Scott Drew and others. But then we also have this crop of the next generation that's having extreme success. TJ at Iowa State, Grant McCaslin down at Texas Tech, Tommy Lloyd, what he's doing at Arizona. And then you think about what Kevin Young's doing at BYU. We have such a variety of the type of coaches, the type of styles of play within our league that makes it really special to watch and really exciting for everybody.
Mr. Thornton, man, I so appreciate you taking time and dropping some of your knowledge on us. It is really cool to see how some of that sausage is made, especially when it tastes so good once conference play starts. So we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Anytime.